Okay, we're live. What's going on, guys? It's Sunday night. All right. Wait, I got to scoot over a little bit. Got a lump in the couch. Got anybody in here yet? No, I'm all by myself. Did we go out of business? Oh, there we go. What's going on, Jesse? Paul Apizzola, what's happening? D. Scagliero and Bruce. Parent Stanley, how you doing, man? Dickie Farley, Jason Fitch, Fubar the Axe. Jensen 5-0, George Bonnie, Dean Brown, Ford LTD 1976. That's something you don't see very often anymore. One Bad AMX, good name, good car. What year? What year is it AMX? Kurt Zimmerman, Wayne Buzzle, Terrence Seymour, Roman K, New Zealand. Wait, this camera is a little weird. I'm just going to leave it. The hell with it. Ryan Beck, Norwell Race. King Eric the Greatest. Wow, we got all of our regulars in here. Steve Pastori, Bobby Z. Happy time change. And that screwed me up. I got here early. I was like, okay, time to make the donuts, man. I got to get to work. No, yeah, it was like way early. 1980. Yes, I remember those cars. Those were fun cars, man. Pound those likes. Yeah, the likes help. Even the dislikes help. I mean, you give me a thumbs down, that's fine. It counts exactly the same as far as YouTube is concerned. Any reaction is a good reaction. Let's see. Have I ever built a TA340? Not a specific TA340, no. Joe Dirte. What's up, Tony? All right, what's happening, man? Joe Dirte. Larry Mulligan. Tony, did you ever run into a Buick street racer named Whitey? Oh, God, I don't know, bro. It's a blur. I mean, you got to realize you're talking about 40 years ago. Let's see. Dakota. What's happening, Dakota? Thumbs down, get your chokes in. No. Thumbs down is fine. Thumbs down is fine. YouTube only counts reactions. Like they only count comments. Like 100% of the comments could be bad. Doesn't make any difference. They count them, and it's the same thing with the thumbs up and the thumbs down. Right? They count them exactly the same, whether it's a favorable or it's unfavorable. They don't care. It just means that people are reacting, and that's what they're looking for. Let's see. The Kickendell. What's happening, brother man? Dripping List, have you ever seen an XLCR 77 Cafe Racer? I did. There was a place on Staten Island called Super Cycles, and they had one of those on display, and I wanted it in the worst way. When they had it, I didn't have the cash for it. They're weird. They're weird looking bikes, but yes, I've seen them. The slag hammer. Oh, Al, what's happening, man? Yeah, Al was here. So tomorrow we'll post a video, an update on what's going on with Junkyard Jet. Those guys just left. Actually, they might still be in the shop. I'm not sure. And Al was here. Al's been here for the last couple of days working on slag hammer. So we've actually made some progress on that. So we're going to do a recap video. We'll have a recap video up on today's events tomorrow morning. Let's see. One bit Amex. Uncle Tony, can you paint the inside of the engine using high heat primer followed by engine enamel? Oh no. I use Rust-Oleum. Okay, first off, I don't do it on anything that's going to be driven like regularly driven on the street. Like I would not paint the inside of an engine that's going to, let's say, go on the interstate and drive for like 4 hours. Never, right? But for an engine, for a hot rod motor, something that's going to be torn down, frequently, and then yeah, that's fine. But no, you never use anything but. I use Rust-Oleum Rusty Metal Primer. I've had nothing but good luck with it. But the thing to use is Gliptol is the thing that you want to use, which is it's an electric motor paint. The Gliptol and follow the directions. And before you ever paint the inside of an engine, make sure you pass everything with a torch. Pass a torch over it. Now you can use a MAP gas and just heat that thing to open up the pores, and you'd be amazed at what comes out. And do that before you try to paint anything inside of an engine. Roman K, what have happened to the hell with you? It's just sitting in my backyard. It's just not the time. I can't even get the cars that we have out to the track, much less anything like that. So, but we're building towards it. So patience. It's all going to happen, and it's all going to be glorious. Just patience. Otto, my thoughts on Steve Mag 62 Dart. I'm jealous, man. That's a great car. I don't have room for another car in my world, but if I did, it would be that one. He's great. I'm gonna talk to him about maybe doing some work with him on that car. Bantry Productions, Bantry. So Bantry Productions sent me a care package. He sent me a shirt, which I wore. It's in the laundry. Otherwise, I wear it today. But yeah, Bantry sent me a whole care package over here. So you guys get over there. This one's going to go on Plan Z for sure. Yeah, he sent me a bunch of stickers and a shirt and everything. Where's that STP one? Okay, I can't find it right now. They probably fell out in my car. But yeah, Bantry, man, thank you so much for the care package. That's great. If you guys go over there, check out Bantry Productions. Good people. Thank you. Max Rich Dix Dastardly, what's happening, brother? Steve is doing so well with his channel. He's getting great views. His sub numbers aren't really up there right now, but he's getting fantastic views on his channel. And if you guys don't know Steve Magnanti, go over there, check him out. He's a great guy. He'll be back here. We just did a Halloween show last Sunday night, and he'll be back here. We're going to do a Thanksgiving show. So, yeah. Let's see. Brandon Miller, how do you feel about open belt primary and stroker V twins? I don't feel one way or the other. Yes, the heathen manager. My spoon is too big. What the hell was the name of that? It's a cartoon. It's fantastic. If you guys haven't seen it, my spoon is too big. Rejected. That's the name of it. John Wilburn, what's happening, brother, man? Made muscle. What's going on? Thanks, Tony. Glad you got a kick out of the 225 shirt and stickers. Yes, man. Thank you so much. Banned cartoons. No, it's called Rejected. Don Hertzfeld, yeah. Lurk, love you, Tony. Oh, I love you too, man. Well, kind of. Yes, and Fubar just put the link up for Bantry Productions. So go over there, check them out, give them a like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Help spread and build our community here. We got the best community. We've got the best car community in all of YouTube. I mean, I'm telling you, we got the best. So yeah, help spread the love. You know what I mean? Everybody's got a channel here. Anything you want to promote, anything you want to get out there, this is the place to do it. I know a lot of people who do lives, they frown on that. Like, don't step on my turf, right? No, I'm the exact opposite. Okay, I do these lives to help strengthen our community. So if you've got something that you want people to see or share or anything like that, put it here. Fubar is the most helpful person in the universe. He always puts up a link to anybody we talk about. So if you want to drive some traffic to your channel, if you got something to try to promote, feel free, man. My forum is your forum. Go for it. Is that Uncle Kathy manning the UTG chat? She's at the control. She's at the control space there at the house. She's at mission control. Pierre Carlson, insomnia made me come here. Oh, we're in the wrong time zone. We will move that. We will eventually get to your time zone. We'll eventually encircle the whole globe, but for right now, right? Adam White, who's got to poop? This guy, Adam White, has got to poop, bro. We all support your need to poop, man. So just go for it, right? Mr. World, Tony, thanks for the Holly carb recommendations. Finished fine tuning with it. Hopefully your videos. It was strong, smooth, night and day difference. Thank you, brother. That's what we're here for. That's what we do. NJ Heflin, thank you for the super chat. UT 351 Windsor, been sitting, runs rough. Pulled valve covers. Valves are sticking open when I smack a hammer. Any tricks about pulling the heads? I use transmission fluid. If it's running, right? So what you do is, with the engine running, right, trickle transmission fluid down the carburetor. Don't take the quart and just like guzzle it, right? But trickle it and give it some gas as you do, because if you don't give it gas as you do it, it will foul the plugs and the motor will stall. So give it moderate gas, like fluctuate between, let's say, 1500 and like 2500 RPM, and just trickle transmission fluid down the throat of the carburetor. And what that does is it'll break the gum that's sticking the valves, right? It'll because the transmission fluid is a solvent, and when you get it hot and you get it circulating through the engine like that, through the induction, end of it, it'll get on the valve stems and it'll break whatever gum is there. And I've used that 1,000 times and it works great. D-Scaglione is saying PB Blaster, it doesn't work as well. ATF is the thing to use for that. French Onion, oh God, did I get the old Harley running? We kicked it. Okay, Al was here working on slag hammer the other night. And I pulled the carburetor. It's a Lincoln carburetor. It is destroyed. There's parts missing inside of it. I'm going to rebuild it, but I got to find another core carburetor for parts for that. So I ordered one of these knockoff S&S carburetors, like $60. It'll be here a day after tomorrow. So at any rate, I put a set of plugs in it. I cleaned the points on the magneto. We just squirted some gas into the intake manifold, gave it a few kicks, and she barked back. So she's, it's got spark and everything. I'll get a carburetor on it, and I should be able to actually ride that bike this week. Pierre Carlson, I'm a bit curious. Can you reveal some of what's coming up on your videos in November? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's like we make videos based on what is in front of me or what's on my mind or what catches my attention on any given day. So I don't know. We are going to start getting into that 3D3, the Tolerant 3D3 that we're going to do for slag hammer, for sure. But other than that, I really don't know. I have some ideas, but nothing that I want to nothing that's formed enough for me to say, yes, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But Mopar Den, where's Mopar Den? Zero, what's going on, brother, man? I didn't see you come in here. You snuck in. Steve Pestro is sitting as long as that bike has the gaskets are going to leak. Well, here's the plan with this bike. All right, so spoiler alert, okay? And you'll see it tomorrow. I cleaned this thing, okay? I cleaned it. And listen to me, right? I cleaned this bike, okay? I spent a few hours. I actually spent a pretty decent amount of time on it. And then Austin, Junkyard Jet guy, Puddin', he came and he clay barred the paint, okay? So this bike shines like a jewel, okay? You got to see it to appreciate it. Tomorrow, like we only like the video we shot today, it's only in there for about 10 seconds. But spoiler alert, the bike is a jewel, okay? So the plan with this thing now is I want to get it running, okay? And I want to get it through the gears. I just want to run it around the parking lot, right? Assess what works, what doesn't work, and what it needs work, and then I'm going to take the bike completely apart. So at that point, any gaskets, anything like that, I'm not going to take it apart. If it runs solid on both, if it runs solid on both cylinders, I'm not going to bother tearing the motor apart. But if there's any issues with the transmission, so I don't know yet. But after we've ridden it around the parking lot here, I'm going to put the bike up on a jack and just blow it apart, clean everything, nice, go through change all gaskets, get all the right. I'm going to put a new wiring harness in it and have the bike ready to ride. But like I said, man, spoiler alert, it is a jewel. You will not recognize this bike from the pictures that were from the videos, the previous videos we did on it. You won't recognize it. It's gorgeous. It's like a jewel. It just pops. Wait till you see it. Find a sidecar funk. Okay, she really does not like motorcycles. Need metal, $5. Thank you, sir. I still have a mark behind my knee from a sporty kick ratchet letting go me from 25 years ago. I caught the oil tank on the way down. We all have. Anyone who's ridden sports just for any amount of time has their injuries, man. The Sportster never lets you forget, right? That's the thing about these bikes. They never let you forget. D. Scaglione, on the Harley, for chrome and metal surfaces, rust will literally disappear using bronze wool and metal wax. What do you mean, is it a jewel, Kathy? That's Uncle Kathy there. This is Uncle Tony's garage. What do you mean? You saw it. Is that bike not beautiful? It pops. Greg McDonald, does the bike have a chrome frame at the front fork that is rusted, or is the uppers of the forks are rusted? Yeah, but the rust doesn't really extend into where the fork seal would ride. So I'm not going to go crazy with that. I'm not going to go crazy with that. The bottom of the forks, like where the suspension would normally travel, is fine. It's just the top part of the forks. So I'm going to put a set of gaiters on there, just reproduction gaiters, and be done with it. The springs feel good. The springs feel good. The shocks, everything, the struts, everything feels good. The forks. J. Russell Finch, did the Junkyard Jet make it into the shop? Almost. They didn't know that they needed shock plates. The shock plates that are on there were from the 7 1/4, which is a 2.5-inch axle tube, and they put an 8 3/4 in it, which is a 3-inch axle tube. So they got the U-bolts for it, but they didn't get the shock plates for it. So it almost came into the shop today. It'll be in the shop tomorrow. Mopar Black Knight, Vice Grip is down here now. I thought you said you were going to work with them last year, and he has been. I never said I was going to work with him. I says I'm open to doing something with him. And yeah, he's about 40 miles down the road, but he is a busy guy. So I'll wait until he contacts me. If he contacts me, we'll do something. New Biz, I would restore that bike, then put a ridiculous amount of miles on it. They did make them to ride. I agree. I want to. Yes, French Onion. Garrett was here today. Yes. I want to take that thing on a road trip, right? I'm not a road trip guy. It doesn't really turn me on, like the idea of just, although I did want to do the Iron Butt at one point. That whole, the endurance thing fascinates me. But yeah, I look at that bike and I just want to take this long ass backcountry road, like, you know what I mean? It's just talking to me. It's just saying, yeah, let's go for a long ass freaking ride. And I think I will. Mr. Will, thank you. He told some issues with a 442. At full throttle, when she reaches 4,000 RPM, she bogs down, no power. I think the CCC carb, but before I convert, I just want to know your thought on what it is. I don't think the CCC carb would have any, the computer command control carburetor really only affects your idle and off idle. You should not have a problem CCC related at that RPM. It's probably not that. On the other hand, get it off of there. There's really no reason to have that carburetor on there. Doug Narden, love bikes just as much as cars. Bikes are my other hobby. Went on a 100-mile ride today, probably my last ride for a season. I love bikes. I love bikes so much that I had to avoid them for years. Like I said in a video, right? The third time I got hit by somebody making a left turn in front of me, and I know one time I got seriously jacked up. It shattered my tibia. But the third time I was minding my own business, I hit by somebody making a left turn. I said, I'm not going to ride anymore. I got rid of the last bike that was 10 years ago. And now it's like, you know what? I just don't freaking care. I just don't care. I love motorcycles. I need to have bikes back in my life, and that's what I'm doing. David Jaska, hey UT, have you posted the cam specs on Bottle Rocket manufacturer? It's a comp roller, and yes, the cam card. If you go back and you look at the off the top of my head, I don't remember what the hell is in there. It's on a 112. It's five. It's a roller. It's 550, 560 on a 112 because it's a nitrous deal. The Kickendale. Thanks for cursing me, Tony. My 33 XJ's chance started going out this week. Haha, at a red light. Take a few seconds for it to shift into first and slipping into third. Sorry, brother, man. Patio furniture. Get yourself a Euro. No, I'm going to stick with Sportster-based bikes. I'm going to stick with Sportster-based bikes. Just for the simplicity of it. Just for the simplicity of it. There is the thing I like about Sportsters, right, is that the range of Sportsters encompasses every single, and so that includes Buells. Okay, so the range of Sportsters, including Buells, covers anything you could ever possibly want to do with a motorcycle, and it's just a package that I came to really love. So everything I'll be doing myself on this channel is going to be Sportster, around that Sportster, framework. But that doesn't mean I won't be doing stuff on other bikes. Like, for instance, all my cars are Mopars, but we do stuff on other cars. So yeah, we'll be doing stuff on other motorcycles as well. But for my own fleet, I'm going to keep it Sportster related. Any word on the Miata? It's just sitting there. It's just sitting there. Garrett's had problems with his mouth. He had to go in for surgery twice. So that which is what's held him up. So it's sitting there waiting for him to take it out and make stuff happen with it. Yogurt, can you get a thumbs up? You've got a thumbs up, Yogurt. Doug Norton, Kickstarter only bikes are cool until they won't start, then they aren't cool. And that's why you got to carry a tool bag. I always thought they were the stupidest things in the world, man. People put these tool bags on the front of their bikes, They'll have a 2012, whatever it is, and it's got a fucking tool bag on the front of it. What the hell are you doing with that? But when you've got an 1861 Ironhead, right, that tool bag is essential because, you know what I mean? It's an old Ironhead, so it's going to be fouling plugs and doing all that good stuff. And then, of course, they vibrate so bad that parts literally just fall off as you're riding down. It's the nature of the beast. So the tool bag is actually a crucial thing to have on one of those bikes. Pure Text, the new Sporty has 150 horsepower. I know. But do you really consider the Sportster S a Sportster? I know they're calling it a Sportster, but it's a 60-degree V-twin. It's water cooled. Is it really a Sportster? And the thing that I like the bike, but what are you thinking with that exhaust on the side? The exhaust is 7 times the size of what it's proportionally. It's hideous. So I don't know. Tool bag, Harley Hook, tool bag, and keep the bike stock. It'll start. Oh, I know. Believe me, I know how to start them. But yeah, it definitely needs a tool bag. Pentastar, just make sure the Kickstarter is tuned, or she will kick you back. I know. That would be cool. Dylan is close by too. Dylan McCool. You talking about Dylan McCool? What a nice kid, man. I've met him a couple of times. I just met him we ran into each other at the Mopar swap meet over here in Lebanon a few months ago. What a great kid. I mean, I like him a lot. And yeah, I would definitely be open to doing pretty much anything with him. I like that kid. D. Scaglione, Dylan is cool. He's cool, but I'll tell you what. Here's the thing I like about that kid, right? He exudes niceness. Have you ever met anybody like that? Okay, where the guy has no pretense or anything like that. He just exudes niceness, right? He's the kind of person you say, you know what? I like that guy. So yeah, definitely. I'm 1,000%. But like I said, I'll wait till he reaches out. If he wants to do something with me, I'm sure he'll reach out. Mopar Black Knight, what do you think is faster, Dylan's Challenger or Bottle Rocket? Bottle Rocket, while it is a trouble-plagued project where it has broken every time, like I haven't gotten a clean pass out of the car yet. Don't kid yourself. It's a fast car wrapped in a lot of trouble. Does that make any sense? So just give it some time. Just give it some time. Let's see. Kyle Teal, are you going to run any S&S cycle parts? Not necessarily. Okay, so here's the bike has the original Linkert carburetor that came on it. And those Linkerts are good carburetors. I've had them before. The one I have is destroyed. It's destroyed. It's missing parts inside of it. It's just like somebody just took the float bowl, just stuck it on there and stuck it on the bike. So I'm going to rebuild it. They go for like $800 rebuilt. I'm not going to spend that kind of loot. I have somebody else rebuild the carburetor. So I'm going to look for a parts carburetor and fix this one myself. In the meantime, I ordered one of these S&S knockoffs off of Amazon at like $60 frickin' just to get the bike running. And then I'll do the Linkert and stick it on there. That car really upside down? Yes, it was really upside down. Charlotte, are you going to paint the frame? Charlotte, the frame is painted. It looks like rust. It's not rust. The paint of the frame is painted brown. There's a couple of areas where the brown is rubbed off and you can see the black. But no, the frame it's not rusted at all. The frame is just painted brown. Steve Pastore, were the S&S carbs based on Linkerts or Tillotsons? I don't think they're based on either. Definitely not Linkert. John Wilburn is saying, we're having a new virtual car show beginning this week on my channel, and Uncle Kathy is one of the judges. Very cool prizes for the winner. How much is it costing? What am I putting up? I don't even know. Yeah, Uncle Kathy's saying, yes, she's one of the judges. I didn't even know about it. Wayne Buzzle, Tony, did you hear that Sweet Connie died? Connie who? Connie Kalita? Well, I don't know why you call him Sweet. He's a nice guy, but NJ Heflin, why did guys raise the back of their hoods back in the day? To let air that's trapped against the firewall. When you're going, okay, the air that comes through the radiator and everything that ends up under the hood piles up against the firewall. So by raising the back of the hood, you're giving that air a place to vent and get out. It's actually worth. Okay, I did this on it was worth 2 miles an hour on a 70 GTX. The car ran 103 miles an hour with the hood. It was a relatively stock car. It ran 103 miles an hour with the hood flat, like bolted normally. And then I adjusted it so it would come up as high as possible and had probably about 3/4 to an inch of a gap between the hood and the cowl, and I went 105. So, and that was something I tested back in Cars Illustrated magazine. So it'd be like 1985, 1986, I did that. But I remember it was worth 2 miles an hour. Chuck Eitel, exude niceness and have a plan to kill everyone in the room. That's right. That's exactly right. Let's see. Mr. Wilton, my cousin's longtime neighbor, is selling some of his classic cars. He has one car he restored 15 years ago, a 66 Belvedere with a 413 auto, beige and dog dishes. Very strong number 3 car. 20,000? Oh, that seems like a lot for a 66 Belvedere. I mean, if it's really clean, if it's really nice and solid and drives without any problems, 20 grand is probably the high end of the range on a car like that. But what do you get for 20 grand anymore? I mean, the dollar is worth less literally every minute. The dollar is worth less now than when we started this live. So, really, what is 20 grand? If you've got it and the car is nice, grab it. It's an investment. Let's see. Chris Greenaway, UTG, what's the prizes for winning? I don't know. I have no idea. You got to either ask Kathy or John Wilburn. I have no idea. Did Plymouth use gray primer under every color paint in 1970? Oh, that's a good question, bro. That's a good question. I'm thinking back, and I can't think of anything but gray primer. I think so. I could be wrong, but yeah, I can't recall ever seeing black or red primer under the factory paint. So yeah, I'd say probably yeah. Brown with cream makes sense in some hard way, like this motorcycle. I swear to God, that's what it is, man. It's brown, it's cream, it's brown, it's got pinstriping, but it pops. It's beautiful. Wait till you see this thing. It's under my plum crazy. Yeah. Holden Broadbeck, thoughts on Corvairs? I'm looking at a 62 Monza with a 2-speed. I've always loved Corvairs, man. You'll never hear me say a big word about Corvairs. I've always loved those things. If it's clean, if it's solid, go for it. It's a jewel. That's right, Kathy. It's a jewel. Looks like a root beer float. I got to get a water. I'll be right back. Okay. Let's see. Slant 6 sock. So why would I slant 6 sock with Corvair? I like this, the motor that was in there. Mr. Wiltone, did you get my email about the 66 Valiant with a slant 6 going for 15,000? Your prediction? I didn't get any. I mean, might have gotten an email. We get so many freaking emails anymore. It just there's just no, So no, I have no idea. Jamie V, sup, bro? What's happening? BS Customs. My friend's father-in-law has a Corvair. He put a small block in the back seat. That was a fairly common thing back in the day. Robert Murphy, could you put a slant 6 on a bike? I mean, I imagine you could. Have you seen this one with a Viper running around? Not the one that Chrysler put together. I can't remember this guy's name. Just Google Viper bike and you'll see it's been done. So yeah, I guess you could do it with a slant 6. Austin, I have a combination of Lucas grease and McGuire's cleaner wax on my clothes. I'm pretty sure it's the first time these products have ever mixed together. He did a beautiful job on it, man. Beautiful job. Alan, yeah, Milliard, outright. He built the let's see. Big block Chevys and Corvairs too. Well, any place you can put a small block, you put a big block. It's one of the nice things about the Chevys, where they're so interchangeable between the big and the small blocks. Yeah, Alan Milliard did a Viper V10. Milliard is off the charts. Yeah, we were talking about his channel the other day. Just amazing, just amazing. You know, you look at what this guy does, and you just feel like he just useless. You know what I mean? Milliard's brain works differently than most. He doesn't see obstacles. He only sees solutions. That's the thing. That's the thing about some people. People who accomplish things, whether it's him, doing it mechanically, or people who are successful in business, right? They don't see problems. There's no such thing as a problem. They only see the solutions, right? And it's like the problems that they come across as they is just a way to finally hone the solution. Does that make any sense? It's like you start with the finished product and then work backwards. I want a V12, whatever it is. Okay, so how am I going to get it? Well, I'm going to cut this and I'm going to cut this, I'm going to combine them together. And they start with the finished project in their head, and then they work their steps backwards. So they don't ever see the problems, they see the solutions. It's amazing the way that mindset works. D Secular, do you have a spare 383 laying around? Nothing complete. I got a few blocks. Nothing complete. Chris Greenaway, your Firebird formula is off to paint. Zero saying a problem is only opportunity to create a solution. It's the truth. Am I going to start making cupcakes in the middle of builds? Maybe, right? Maybe we'll make bagels. Kyle Teal, define twisted wedge head. Twisted wedge is just another way of saying canted valve. So a big block Chevy, a Cleveland Ford, a Polysphere Chrysler would be a twisted wedge. It's just another way of saying canted valve. Need Metal says a problem is an opportunity to throw wrenches into neighbors' yards. John Jones, Uncle Tony, I still need a six-pack in my life. Looking forward to the video of a cheap six-pack build. I know it will come when the time is right. Yes. I'm going to do that with my 73 Roadrunner. That's got a 340 in it. And that car screams, I need a six-pack. So that car is going to get a six-pack. The reason I haven't done it is because the manifolds are not around. Edelbrock stopped producing them, and small block six-pack manifolds are just not available right now. If I came across one reasonably priced, I'd grab it and just put it on the side and start gathering parts for that. But they're not around. And I've been like, everywhere I go, I kind of keep an eye out. You know what I mean? Like maybe I pop across one, and I haven't. If they were available, I would have just ordered one new. Need Metal. I'm a recovering alcoholic. Six packs is the last thing I need. You're recovering, brother man. Congratulations for every day you keep it straight, brother. Good going. Mr. Will, are the 3 paint jobs still on for this fall, winter? I'm painting my car this spring, so the video is much needed. Kathy and I were just talking about that. No, they're not on as of right now because I just bit off more than I could chew in general. They're going to get done, but they're not going to get done now, right? And I'm telling you, just point blank, I have just in general, for the last few years, since we started doing this stuff, I keep biting off more than I can chew, right? And keep biting off more than I can chew. And that's my way of doing things, right? I find that I accomplish more if I set unreasonable goals. So just in the course of working with this channel, setting up the shop, getting all of these things going, I consistently bite off more than I can chew, and there just isn't enough time. There isn't enough time in a day. There aren't enough days in a week. There aren't enough weeks in a month. There aren't enough months in a year for me to accomplish everything I need to accomplish. So, they'll get done, but not in the time frame that I was expecting them to get done. Douglas Filer. Try to find parts for brake booster on Studebaker Hawk. It's called Hydro Boost. Yeah, that's you can find big truck stuff. Any help? Cadillacs used Hydro Boost in the 70s. Now I can't tell you exactly what years. I'm thinking 77, 78, 79, maybe into the early 80s. Cadillac used a Hydro Boost design, and that's probably your easiest source for parts for that. Anthony Perna, hey Uncle Tony, I'm considering buying a 62 Valiant convertible. It's been sitting a very long time, climate controlled. Is it a bad idea to buy? Are any parts hard to get? Any weird issues? Can you do a V8? You can do a V8, but they're not very good to do V8s with. It's the same. The 62 Valiant, you'll end up, if you're going to put a V8 in, it's the same as putting it into any pre-66 A body. It's just really tight on the exhaust side. It's hard to get a good exhaust in those cars. But I mean, no, there's nothing really weird about them other than body parts and trim are hard to come by. But mechanically, you won't have any problem at all. The Astrovan Hydro Boost, that's right. Yeah, Astrovan too. But that was later after the Caddies, right? The Astrovan had them in the middle 80s or into the early 90s. Okay, Fast Stang 85 is saying all V8 Mustangs 99 to 04 have Hydro Boost. Okay, so then there you go. You have lots of choices for Hydro Boost. Donna Wynn English, use logs, turn backwards, plumb forward, down, and back. That only works on a big block. Okay, Mr. Douglas, my 85 GMC 3500 one-ton has Hydro Boost. 85 through 87 Buick Grand Nationals have no. The Grand National didn't have. The Grand National had a pressurized vessel for the brakes. It didn't have Hydro Boost. It was a whole different system. Instead of having a regular power brake booster, it had a pressurized vessel that screwed in behind the master cylinder, and that supplied pressure for the power brakes. Joe Woody, thank you for your super chat, sir. I'm planning on putting a 440 in a 66 Charger. Would you recommend the 904 that already has or a 727? If it's a 66 Charger, it doesn't have a 904. It's definitely got a 727, even the small block ones. But there is no 904 big block combination from the factory. All big blocks had 727s. You won't find a 904 that has a big block bolt pattern on the back of it. It doesn't matter. Even Tony, 69340 Dart. When do you know it's time to chunk the original carbon by a current one? Well, that's really hard to say because, I mean, see, a carburetor is almost infinitely rebuildable. Some of them, I know the throttle bores get where the throttle plate goes through the bore, they get sloppy and whatnot. Some of them are like that. But yeah, no, there's really at no point that you have to chuck a carburetor, and they can always be rebuilt. Depends on the originality of the car. If you're not a stickler for it's got to have the right type of carburetor on it, then yeah, make a swap, right? And as far as cheap carburetors, those Summit carburetors are fantastic. That Summit 750 on that 340 would be a really good combination, and they're only about $300. So, I don't know. The call is yours. Me, I'm a bit of a purist, so the 340 would have to have an AFB based carburetor, either an Edelbrock or an actual AFB. But that's just me. That's not the best way. But that's how I would do it, just because I got that kind of sickness. Chuck Idle, no one ever wrote any books about people playing it safe, and you never see a statue of a critic. Very true. Very true. Kickendell, Tony, know any good carb company to do a rebuild on a Holly model 1940? I found kits, but this thing really needs some serious love more than my workbench. Um, oh, Jesus. Give me 1 second, and it'll pop into my head. VintageMuscleCarParts.com. VintageMuscleCarParts.com. He does carburetors. And he'll give you a brand new carburetor back. So yeah, check that one out. Kyle Monsoon, did Roadkill ever take you up on an engine build off using stock parts? And no, they just blew it off. Eric Jackson, yes, Eric Jackson. Frank Jones, hello everybody, new to the channel. How are you doing, Frank? Welcome aboard. Let's see. Yeah. Take it out. It's Eric Jackson, VintageMuscleCarParts.com. Email. I don't think Predators have idle circuits. They do have an idle circuit, but their transition, and I can't tell you specifically what the deal is, but they're very they're not good street carburetors. If they were, you'd see them everywhere, right? And that's not a new idea. The Predator is an updated version of the old Kindig carburetor, and that goes back to like the late 1950s. And like I said, if they were any good, right? Listen to me, Predator carburetors. Any of those, if they were any good, you would see them everywhere. You don't see them anywhere. Why? There's you know what I mean? That's the thing, right? We're in the age of hot rodding. Okay, we're in the golden years now. Okay, like there are no new ideas. There's nothing you can conceive of or think of today that wasn't attempted 50 years ago, right? 60 years ago. So things do become refined over time, but all of the stuff that we deal with today all has been tested and worked and reworked, and every concept you can imagine has already gone through the procedure. And if it had any value at all, it would be the standard, it would be the norm. The things you see today in the world of hot rodding are the things that work. If you don't see it today in the world of hot rodding, trust me, somebody at some point worked it to the end of the line. You know what I'm saying? Through the whole day, through the whole 9 yards of it, and it didn't return. The receipts. It didn't work. So just apply that across the board, man. It's pretty much. Tony Serpone, what do you think of the LS engine? I am jealous of the LS engine. As a Mopar guy, and I've said it before, I've said it 1,000 times, I am jealous of the LS. They're fantastic engines. And if I wasn't so wrapped up in my own little world of Mopar insanity, I would be building LSs, man. They're fantastic engines. You can't say a single bad thing about them. NJ Heflin ran a Predator on a 340 drag car, would never run right. Yep, I know. Bill Paps, I have old Predators. It was good for one thing, wide open. Neil Stenich, where are the junkyard jets? Miss being Spanky. They were here all day today. They just left. John Wilburn, yeah, you just said a lot, bro. Bad ideas stay alive in hot rodding because people invest their egos into them. You're absolutely right. One bit AMX. Uncle Tony, what would happen if the inside motor is painted? See street strip and freeway use. You've always got the possibility of the paint peeling. It only takes a little bit of a break in there for oil to start getting behind the paint and peeling it off the engine. So if it's something that you're dealing with on a daily basis, where it's heating and cooling cycles, constantly heating and cooling cycles, always being subjected to oil splash and oil wash, it's just a matter of time before something gets behind that paint, and then that's it. The integrity is gone, and that paint is all going to start flaking off and working its way down into your oil pan. So that's why I never, ever consider painting the inside of an engine that's going to see any type of extended use, right? But if the engine is only going to be seen, it's only going to see a racetrack, or it's only going to go out, it's a Saturday night special type of car, then you can consider painting the inside of it, but never on something that you drive every day. And I don't care what paint you use, and I don't care how well you prep it. It just not a good idea. Isaiah Osborne, why do you recommend to not seriously smooth the runners or the bowl when you port heads? Just curious. Because on the intake side, you want a texture. You need a texture on the walls to keep the fuel from sticking to the wall and falling out of atomization. So on the intake side, the ports and the bowl should be left textured. Just clean them up and leave the texture. Do your grinding, right? Clean it up a little bit, but then leave the texture. And this way, you know that at no point will fuel stick to the wall, fall out of velocity, and just drip into the port. The exhaust, on the other hand, go ahead and polish to your heart's content, because the exhaust operates on a different circumstance than the intake does. So yeah, port and polish the exhaust. The intake, just port. New City Carport, what was the name of the carb rebuilder? Eric Jackson. His name is Eric Jackson, and his company is called VintageMuscleCarParts.com. Lout Burns dropped the pan on my Boss 429 today, and I found blue glue. Oh man, in the oil pickup. I wish people would learn how to use this stuff. Blue has no place on an engine. Now, I don't even know what they make. Okay, the first silicones were blue, like before there was the red or the black or the ultras or any of those other ones. The initial one was blue. You had clear silicone to do windows, and you had blue, right? But the blue quickly fell out of favor, right? It was like, it was like the inferior one. If you're doing anything with an engine, no blue. I don't know what you'd use blue on, to be perfectly honest with you. If it has to seal water, use black. If it's exposed to temperature of any sort, use red, right? But don't ever use blue on an engine, ever. Rocky Mars, he was your Paul podcast sponsor. Yes. Hollyhock, people go crazy with the silicone. Doesn't take much. The only place you ever want to go crazy with silicone, and when I say crazy with silicone, I put a big blob on my finger. When you drop the intake manifold down, in the corners of the intake manifold, doesn't matter what engine you're building, it's always like a V-style engine, right? I'll always take a glob of silicone, put it on my finger, and stick it right there in the corner where the intake manifold meets the block and meets the deck of meets the head and the block. That is the most common area for it to leak. If you take factory engines apart, you take any factory engine apart, and you'll always find a glob of black silicone in those corners. So the factories will do it, and I do that also. And that's the only place you ever want to have an accumulation of silicone. Other than that, it's just put a swipe on it and just a just a thin swipe is all you use. If you need more than that, you've got a problem that silicone isn't going to fix. The factory Mopar gray silicone, yeah, it is. Well, the oh God, Yamaha was it the Yamabond? Was it called? I don't remember. This is about 30 years ago. Um, it was Yamaha came out with it first, the gray stuff, and then somebody else, was it Nissan? I don't remember, but yeah, the gray stuff is fantastic. Head stores, the Miata for sale. Like, no, it's not for sale. Nothing I have is for sale. Um, Yamabond, right? Isaiah Osborne, when you shave the heads, how does the intake stay lined up? Another question I've always wondered. You can take a small amount off the deck or the heads, right? And the intake manifold will fit right. And they design that on purpose. Like there's a certain amount of slop that's built into the original design of an engine, because if in the course of servicing it, let's say it's a 3-year-old engine, 4-year-old engine, it goes into the dealer to be serviced, right? Textbook serviced. They would expect you to deck the block, to clean the deck of the block or clean the deck of the head, the surface of the head. So they allow about a 30,000th of an inch slop when they put it together. Now, if you cut more than that, let's say you take 60, 100 thousandths off combination of the deck and the head, now the intake manifold will not fit down into. So at that point, generally they'll leave the intake manifold alone and they'll take material off the intake side of the cylinder head. And I don't remember what the proportion is, but there's a formula. You take X amount off of the deck or X amount off the head, and then you take X amount off the face of the intake, and then it all fits back together again. Did that make sense? I hope that made sense. Um, let's see. Kyle Monsoon. I have a unibody 1960 Falcon 66 to 89 swap. Okay. Looking to weld a frame to connect the subframes. Do you all think some square tubing would be good enough? Yes, square tubing would be good enough. And that's one of the few cars, those early unibody Fords, the Falcons and the Mustangs, are one of the few cars that I say, yeah, you absolutely need to tie the unibody together on that. Mopars, people tie together the unibody Mopars, and I always think that's a mistake. Unless you do a super high horsepower deal that doesn't have a roll cage in it, there's no reason to ever do it with a Mopar. Fords, on the other hand, those Fords, the Falcons and the Mustangs, are so freaking flimsy. If you take the engine out of that Falcon or out of a Mustang, okay, where it's just you can literally, man, grab a fender and lift the fender off the ground, and the other side lift the corner of the car off the ground, and the other side stays put. There's so much flex in those early Fords that, yeah, tying the frame connectors, tying the frames together on that thing is a really good idea. Put the cheese in your bum bum. Where'd you come up with that name, bro? No blue, not even a blue cheese. No, I love blue cheese. That's my favorite. That's my favorite salad dressing, man. Blue cheese, right? Blue cheese is the perfect delivery system for bacon bits, right? Because a salad, the most important part of any salad is the bacon bits, and the blue cheese dressing will hold more bacon bit than any other. I like ranch too, but on a salad, bro, where the bacon bits are of ultra importance, because what's the point of a salad without bacon bits? Ranch will hold more bacon bits in lettuce suspension than any other dressing. Ranch is best for chicken wings, yeah. Chuck Dos, Uncle Tony, what's your take on a 7355 Buick engine? I'm a closet Buick freak. We've done a lot of Buick stuff on this channel. We've done Buick 455 stuff. Just do a search on the channel. My friend Dallas, who does our Wednesday night Tech Talk lives with me, he's a Buick guy, like to the bone. He's got Buicks everywhere. And if you do a search on this channel, just search Buick, and you'll see that we've done a lot of Buick stuff. Isaiah Osborne, Harbor Freight off-brand gray sealer works good. Bro, I've been using their black sealer for the last, I don't know, like a couple few months. I've been using the Harbor Freight black, and it's great. It's only like $4 a tube, and it is fantastic. John Wilburn, you're not into ranch dressing. Is that weird? Well, I mean, yeah, to me it's weird. I can't imagine, not liking ranch dressing. I mean, really, you know. Crazy Wrench Garage. UTG, how often do you start your cars in the winter time if they're just sitting waiting for summer? The cars that I've got at the house generally don't get started at all. I've been neglecting everything since we moved into the shop. If it's a car that it's just sitting waiting to be, like it's not in deep storage, but it's ready to go, and you're going to keep it ready to go. I would say once a week or so. Give it a start once a week, once every 2 weeks, especially if it's really, really cold. You get down into like the single digits. You want to start it, but here's the important thing: once you start it, okay, you have to let it run, right? You can't just start it for like 10 minutes and say, okay, it's done. When it's cold out and you start an engine like that, there's a huge amount of condensation that builds up inside the engine and inside the exhaust, and you've got to let that thing run long enough to burn off that condensation, or you get all sorts of rust and all sorts of contamination in the oil, like rusty contamination. So your best bet is once a week, once every other week, take the car for like a 10-mile ride. You know what I mean? And make sure it's fully warmed up before you shut it off. Ranch dressing, yes, Zero. Ranch dressing is the poor man's blue cheese. Exactly. People who like ranch generally are aspiring to blue cheese, but they just have not made it, Anthony Perman, Tony, I have a pinhole in my compressor tank. I want to MIG it real quick. Internet experts think it's going to explode if I do. Oh, God, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think I would fuck with that. I don't think I would. No. Old Jetfire says, I never start my sitting cars in the winter, wait till spring. Yeah, he's right. He's right. But if you are going to, so let's just say, you got a couple of nice days and you wanted to go for a cruise, you know what I mean? Because that's the whole point of keeping a car out of storage. So it's always there in case you want to go for a ride. It's just like motorcycles, it's like I wouldn't be putting them up for the winter because you get that occasional, like, where it's, you get a couple of days where it's like in the 50s or whatever, and you're like, oh, I want to go for a ride. You want to just be able to get it and go. So it's the same thing, kind of like with a vintage car. You want to keep it at the ready. So if you do have the occasion to take it out, you take it out. Your cars, on the other hand, old Jetfire, we did a feature on one of his cars. These things are museum pieces. They're beautiful, beautiful, beautiful cars that he's got detailed to the nth degree. So what he's saying is right, and it's the right thing for the type of car that he has, which is next level. But as far as like a typical car, like that we would have, nah, man, just when you start it up, make sure it's completely warm before you put it back. Ari, what's happening, Ari? I just seen you pop in here. You really love the Harley you guys just got. Something like that would perfectly accompany my Apache 10. Bro, you got to see. You'll see it tomorrow. You'll see it. Like we the video we shot today, we just got like 10 seconds on the bike, but I cleaned it up. Wait till you see it cleaned up. And then Austin from the Junkyard Jets, he took a clay bar to the paint. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Sean Sullivan, you ever have any experience with a 318 popping through the carb rhythmically? Idles fine, the more load, the harder to pop. Yes, you have a partially stuck intake valve. Do the thing that we were just talking about before. Get the engine up to operating temperature. Fluctuate the idle between 1500 and let's say 2500 RPM, and slowly trickle transmission fluid down the carburetor. And just keep feathering the throttle and trickle transmission fluid. We actually did a video about this, only I don't remember what it's called. And that will free that stuck intake valve that you've got. That's why it's popping for the intake. Very common on 318s. It's a jewel. Like, bro, I'm in love with this thing. You don't know. Danny Boyd, I'm talking about a 2005 Mustang GT runs out of gas at quarter tank, and when it does, the exhaust smells like rotten eggs. What gives? You've run the thing lean, and when you ran it lean, you made the catalytic converters very angry, and they are hot, and that's the rotten egg smell that you're getting. Van Halen or Van Hager, neither. I could go for the rest of my life without hearing another Van Halen or no, I'm good. Shooter McGavin, I have an occasional backfire through the carb. Should I advance or retard the timing? Advance it. Studebaker Larry, should you drain the cooling system if you're storing a car for an extended period of time? Couldn't coolant weep through gaskets and seize up the pistons? I wouldn't worry about that, but coolant does degrade over time, and you'll see that it'll crystallize, especially around the water pump. If it's going to be stored for a long time, right? 3 years, 5 years, 10, or indefinitely, right? Drain the cooling system. Mark Shaw, my blown Pro Street car has been running perfect, but recently has been giving me light pops and backfires at low RPM. Is it just because the air is different? It needs a full winter tune. It's probably lean. You've probably got it. It's probably lean. Oxygen content goes up, and the fuel mixture has to follow it. Mr. Will, Tony is punk rock guy and more like the Ramones and the Sex Pistols. Yes. Blade FPV. I have a mild 383 Magnum and a 727 and an 85 D150 stop Magnum cam, wind intake, long tube, stock 1200 RPM convert. No, it's got to be higher than 1200 RPM. Any performance secrets to make a wicked street strip combo? The distributor, you want to. In a mild combination, most of your snap is going to come from working with the distributor, tightening up the curve, getting it as close to being as locked out as you can without it kicking back. So you want to have like 3D3, 34 to 36 degrees total, and you want it all in by like 1500 RPM, right? And then they'll snap like crazy. That's your biggest seat of the pants bang for the buck. You want the thing to smoke the tires, that's how you do it. Pentastar, the answer is Misfits or Dead Kennedys. Okay. The answer to what question? Ari, I've been getting a miss at high RPM, especially when cold. Yeah, it's probably on the lean side. No, you got to remember something. The 10% ethanol gas that we use does lean the mixture, right? So if I remember correctly, there's like a 0.02 of an inch difference in jetting to optimize between pure gas and ethanol. So you're going to be lean running on pump ethanol gas, and especially they change the blends too. So you got a winter blend gas you're dealing with now. So it's going to be lean to begin with. So any of that like winter related drivability issues, it's almost always just lean. Rocky Myers Nugent was a draft dodger. Look it up. Hey, but people listen. People have different. Lots of people objected to the Vietnam War, right? Whether they were right or whether they were wrong, I don't know, because I wasn't there in that time to be one of them. So I'm not going to judge somebody who did or didn't participate in that police action. It wasn't a war; it was a police action. So I refuse to judge anybody by their actions in that particular situation. Now, if it was you talking about like World War II or anything like that's a whole different bag of But Vietnam, I have a hard time judging anybody from dodging that particular draft. Um, doesn't matter. Petronics versus original dual points. I use dual points. Austin, I'm going to play Frank Zappa at my wedding. I'm going to play Frank Zappa at my wedding, and Sabrina is just going to have to deal with it. So Austin's one of the Junkyard Jets, and I turned these guys onto Frank Zappa. They had never heard of him before. How you I don't know how you could like be alive and not know Frank Zappa. But I turned them on to Frank Zappa. And I played them Thingfish and Joe's Garage. So now now we've got a fresh generation of Zappa fans coming up. Yeah, some people prefer muffins exclusively, while I could care less for them. Bobby Brown, yeah, right. Yeah. I played all that. I played a lot of that stuff with them. Uh, Matthew Woolley, hey Tony, what do you think about VW Manixes? Oh, they're great. They're great. I've never owned one, but I've been in a few of them. They're awesome. Who doesn't love a dune buggy, right? We didn't have any dunes in New York City where I grew up, so it wasn't exactly like the popular thing to have. Hot Rats still blows my mind. Yeah, Frank Zappa was a genius. CMC Fadden 442. Favorite Leonard Skinner song? Don't tell me like, yeah, no, there's no such thing as a favorite Leonard Skinner song here, man. Yeah, we had Rockaway Beach, but it wasn't like that. That's not a dune buggy thing, man. Wayne Buzzle, don't forget, Austin is as useful as well as decorative. You're right. You're absolutely right. Yep, moving to Montana soon. Going to raise me a crop of dental. You're going to be a dental floss tycoon. Riding with your zircon encrusted tweezers gleaming in the moonlighty night, right? Tony, did I like David Bowie? Yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's okay. Cooch, Nickelback rocks hard. Nickelback, did you just say Nickelback? Cooch, this is the wrong channel for you, brother, man. You're going to have to go someplace else. You cannot participate in this any longer. I'm sorry. Goodbye. Thank you, Cooch. It's been fun knowing you. Hiram W. Hey, Tony, if I put a 318 through a Toyota Camry, will I get crucified? No, by who? That would be fun. That would definitely be a fun swap. Rebel Angel Killer. My dad belonged to a dune buggy club in the 70s in Pennsylvania. We went to quarries, woodlands, and hill climbs. Yeah, well, but see, I was from New York City. I mean, literally, I'm in New York City, right? So it was like, it's just we didn't have that kind of stuff. Ben Shimon, industrial 318 parts compatibility. The 318.3, yeah, everything is completely compatible with the non-industrial motors. Uncle Tony, ever done the Wango Tango? Haven't we all done the Wango Tango? Descargo and everybody. Yes, yeah, on occasion, yes. Um, Golden Earring Radar Love. That's one of the 4 songs that they play on classic rock. If you ever listen to classic rock stations, they only play like 4 songs, and that's one of the 4 songs. Whoever made royalties, whoever owns that song, whoever owns that freaking thing, please, I can't imagine how much money they make. Next best wedding song is Now You're Messing with a Son of a Bitch. Joe K, Twilight Zone, Radar Love. My partner with the top fueler was Bobby Lagana, and he had a funny. Well, the dregs was called Twilight Zone also, but the funny car was he named it the Twilight Zone, and it was after that song. That song had just come out when he got back into drag racing. I guess it was in like, oh god, 1980, 1979. I don't even remember. I don't even know the year. But when he got back into it, that song was like playing all the time, and that's why he named the car the Twilight Zone, because of that song. Used to love. Oh yeah, yeah. That's a great. Okay, that's a great song. I'm not a big Guns N' Roses fan, but yeah, used to love her is that's one of my favorites. I love that song. It's great. Pentastar's craziest show was Gigi Allen in Chicago. Gigi Allen. We used to have a. I used to have a regular. There was like I haven't seen him in a long time. But we used to have a regular in the lives, and the name he used was Gigi Allen. Richard Belvin, Mighty Python's Every Sperm is Sacred. That's such a great movie, man. Andy Nicole, I saw 200 motels on acid, never recovered from it. Ari, I find Gigi Allen less offensive than what I see on TV nowadays. That's for sure. You're right, bro. You are absolutely right. Earl Hickey, what do you think the power loss would be from having a spark plug wire unhooked on a mild 350 Chevy? Um, Actually, pretty significant, because not only are you not not only are you not firing off that cylinder, so right off the bat, there's 12%. Is it 12%? You're down 12% just from not firing that cylinder. But then on top of that, you've got the pumping losses from that cylinder. So I would say you're probably looking at 18 to 20% power loss. Now, 20% maybe a bit much, but definitely between 15 and 18% power loss from one cylinder off. Gigi, come for the music, stay for the poo. Black Magic fan, now that it's too cold for my cars, I'm back to huffing sealant and watching YouTube. It's a way of life. Zachary Hubbard, what started you on your preference for Mopars? I just identified with them from the time I was a baby. I just identified with Chrysler products, and so it's just always been. Austin is saying, Wade, the undercoating that came off the last wheel of the Jet, what we could scrape into the bag weighed 5 pounds, meaning there was like 50 pounds of undercoating on it. Insane. People don't realize. I was telling Austin before on Plan Z when we first did that car, we scraped all of the undercoating, all of the sound deadener, and all of the dirt that had accumulated in the cowl. Right? We took all of that, put it in bags, and weighed it. And it was 104 pounds. So yeah, it's easy to find 50 or 60 pounds in undercoating under the bottom of a car. Stefan Paul, undercoating is the work of the Satan. Yes. Mopar Black Knight, what do you think of that V8 Lunar put in a Supra? It's no Mopar Big Block. Would you ever consider messing with one because it sounds something? I don't know. I haven't seen it. Vince Venture, 104 pounds is about a tenth. You're not taking into account that weight is at the lowest part of the car, which means that it's actually inhibiting weight transfer. So forget about it. Forget about just the static 104 pounds. It's also not allowing the car. It's prohibiting the car from hooking, transferring weight, and hooking the way it's supposed to. 1/10 is an eternity. Well, I mean, it's a car length. Mike N, I got a lot done in my car myself, thanks to your channel. Thanks for sharing all that knowledge, bro. That's why I'm here. And I mean, I'm glad you got something out of it. When I at the end of a video, when I say I hope you got something out of that, I mean like I sincerely. I don't just say it to be polite. I mean, I really sincerely hope you got something out of that. That's why we do these videos. That's why we do this channel. Um, J. Russell Finch, I'm not interested in racing my car. Back in 1966, the previous owner ran it in stock, 1181. What kind of car is this, bro? In 1966, a stocker won an 1181. I mean, you go back to 1966. The A stock record was probably like in the high 12s. Douglas Fowler, Tony, what do you think of the Boosted Boys 7-second Honda NSX? I love those guys. I haven't been watching their stuff lately because I'm watching a lot of varied YouTube stuff. I haven't been catching up. I haven't been paying attention to what the Boosted Boys have been doing, but I love those kids. What they do is fantastic. That is pure hot rodding, right? That's people like, oh, kids today don't get it, right? It's like, no, bullshit, man. They get it, and they get it hardcore. And the Boosted Boys are a perfect example of that. Fantastic stuff they do. Tony, do you build your spark plug wires out of specific brand wires? Specific wire or just use pre-made sets? If so, which brand? I'm super anal retentive about plug wiring. I know it's it's like everybody has their thing, okay, and my thing is plug wires, and I have this thing where if I'm working on an engine, I cannot disturb the plug wires. Here's what happens, right? You work on an engine, your hands are always dirty, and I don't want oily, and I don't want to ever have to touch plug wires. So unless it's a Hemi where you actually have to take the plug wires out of the valve covers, I route all of the wiring, the plug wiring on my engines so that they never have to be touched. So if I got to take a valve cover off, like I could do a cam swap on any of my engines and never touch the plug wires, right? You know what I'm saying? Never have to touch the plug wires. So I cut my own sets, and I like the Axle yellow, the solid core Axle yellows, and 7 millimeters. I've never had a reason to. I've never seen a reason to go anything thicker than a 7 millimeter wire. Chris Greenaway, Tony, how was the Slant 6 after the carb adjustment? We did the video on that, man. The fucking car will go right up. It snaps. It goes. And now it's going to be taken all apart so I can fix its shortcomings. But no, we don't have anything different on that. Mechanically, like the tune-up wise, it's ready to go. But I do have to do the oil pan. I'm probably going to have to put a crank in it, and I'm taking the whole car apart to get more weight out of it. I want it under 2,100 pounds when it hits the starting line. Interesting. Do a video on your plug wires. I don't know how much of a video I could make out of that. It's like I said, man. It's a thing for me. Like you look at any car that I build, right? Not stuff. Okay, so if it's like a regular car, right, driver car, I just put it the way the factory put it. You know what I mean? Because there's no sense in messing around with it. But if it's anything I work on, like okay, I'm gonna try changing these heads. I'm gonna try doing this. I'm gonna try doing that. Whatever it is, where I know when we taking it apart and putting it back together again, I am super crazy about anything being in the way. Like if I build an engine, okay, and like there's a wire that crosses the valve cover, a vacuum line, anything like that, right? No. I have to be able to take the valve covers off of my engine without touching anything around it. I'm crazy like that. Let's see. Early Magnums had problems with spark plug wire crosstalk. Yeah, I remember that was a thing. Let's see. Big Bear's checking out. Good night, Big Bear. Earl Hickey, will the timing being too high make it lose power too? Well, here's the thing, right? As RPM picks up, it needs less advance. So when you're dialing in maximum, so let's say you're gonna go for 35 degrees of total advance. That's to get the car moving, right? That's so that when you hit it, she fucking jumps, right? But as you go further down, as RPM increases, it needs less timing. So you actually if you okay, like for instance, you could leave with a super stock car at 40 or 42 degrees, okay? And then retard the timing back to 34, 32, 34, like that, up on the top end. And I'm using those numbers because I used to play around with Dave Leclerc's American Indian super stock car, and that's what it was with that. It was with the ignition controller, it was 40 degrees or 42 degrees on the hit, and then it would back the timing way off for the rest of the run. So having the timing too far advanced will kill your top end power or your mile an hour. So it's a compromise. It's a compromise that you use. Captain John H, your old short videos that cover a particular hint is just a few minutes. We're great. Can you do more of those? We have been talking about that, and absolutely, yes, we are going to start doing some of those shorter videos again. RC Top Fueler, Tony, how about an Aussie Chrysler 6-cylinder out of a Valiant more cubes for a Miata? No, I'm done with the Miata, and I'm just done with it. I'm just not into it. But no, we don't have those Aussie motors here. They just don't exist. We don't have them. And that's the other thing too. A straight up motor, like an upright motor like the Aussie 6 or a Ford or a Chevy motor would not have worked in the Miata because it's too tall. The only inline 6 you could have put in that car, American inline 6 you could have put in that car, is a slant 6, because it's just, an upright inline just would not go. Chris Greenaway, what's your 416 build in a 340 Roadrunner? No, my 340 Roadrunner will stay a 340. No intention at all of ever putting a stroker in that. Alan McRoy, I can think advanced timing for power off the line. What would you recommend for towing setup instead of drag race? With towing setup, bro, I would just go with whatever the factory specs are. But I mean, I can't really, offer an opinion on a towing setup. Danny Boyd, is a 68 Roadrunner the 400? Yes, there's a 400 in the 68. Now that is getting a stroker. I've got a 452 that's apart right now, but the 452 is going in that car. Chris Culpa, did the Miata ever get the road truck by a junkyard jet dude? I think it was John. No, it wasn't John. It was Garrett. And Garrett was down for a couple of weeks. He was having problems with his mouth. He had he had tooth surgery and then more surgery and blood and all kinds of other things. So he was out of the picture for the last few weeks. So he's back in. He was here today. He's working on the car today, and he just hasn't had the time to do anything with the Miata yet. Tony, I thought your 73 was a 340 board to 416. No, it's a 340. Danny Boyd, don't think you could bore a 340 to 416. No, they use a stroker crank. They use a 4-inch stroker crank. Austin, hey Tony, I know I've told you about my F-150 with the 306, and given those things are large cubic inch wise, why don't people build those as much as the 225? Genuinely wondering, since they have good torque. The 300 Ford is a much better engine than the Slant 6, period, the end. But the Slant 6 is a cult engine. That's the difference, right? Like, there are people who love the Slant 6. You don't have many people, you know what I mean? Like the 300 Ford, the 292 Chevy, all great inlines, right? But the Slant 6 has its own cult following, right? So that's why the Slant 6 and not those other engines. Gator Golf, let's go, Brandon. Love you, Uncle Tony. I love you too, Gator Golf. Larry Smith, Uncle Tony, what do you think about these drag strips closing down? Do you think it's on purpose or just because of bad times? Because I find it strange so many tracks have been lost in 1 year. They're the bigger tracks. And the bigger tracks, the ones that stuck in the past, the ones that stuck with the whole NHRA mentality and all of that, yeah, they're gone. Okay. And they're not coming back. That whole thing is not coming back. Smaller tracks and some of the larger tracks that have adopted the new ways of doing things, like South Georgia Motorsports. There's several of them through the country that have adopted the new ways, the tire classes, and the no prep thing, and those tracks are doing great and they're thriving. And though I go to these small tracks now. You used to go to these like little 8th mile tracks years ago. Like occasionally, we'd run, like when I was doing the fuel cars, we would get booked into these little 8th mile tracks, and they pay you to come and just do a burnout. They knew you're not going to be able to. They know you're not going to be able to hook on this thing, right? So they pay you to come in and just do a couple of burnouts, right? So we would hit these tracks, and they have tiny little crowds, and they'd be like, tiny little bleacher, tiny little crowd. You'd have like 300 people there, 400 people there, and you'd look around, and they'd be like maybe 25 race cars, out for the night. And back in the 80s or 90s, that was the typical thing in an 8th mile track, a little 8th mile track. Now you go to these little 8th mile tracks, they are packed, man. The pits are full from one end to the other. There's people all over the place. It's popular, it's growing, it's hot, it's good. Drag racing, the way the NHRA style drag racing, the old school of drag racing, is dead, and it is never coming back. The new stuff, like the whole new generation of it, right, is doing fantastic. So don't, you can't judge it. You can't judge a book by what's going on. Shit. Uh-oh. Uncle Kathy sent me a text. Uncle Kathy, look at this. See, look at the kind of life I got, right? So there, Uncle Kathy is making me some stuffed artichokes for when I go home. So when I go home, I'm gonna have some fresh, delicious stuffed artichokes. Thank you, Kat. I needed that. Garrett was the one that burned up removing the undercoating. Yes, but miraculously, he has been revived. He's like the phoenix. BS Customs, this means a fine woman on this planet, Tony, but not all will make you stuffed artichokes. Bro, you got to be the man. You got to be the man. If you're the man, the woman takes care of you. Well, pardon, thank you, brother, man. I love the 273 and 318, but the slant six will always have appreciation for me. Oh, and take the plastic wrap off the UTG sign behind you. It was just for shipping protection. Enjoy the artichokes. I got to get double-sided tape. I know the plastic is on there for right now, but I got to get double-sided tape to stick it up there. I don't want to put holes in it. Gabriel DeMarco, you had some artichokes tonight yourself. Hey, there you go, right? I'm not the only one. Dick goes in, yeah, is Uncle Tony smoking store-bought six? Yeah, it's Sunday, so the place I usually get my tobacco is closed, so I just picked up a pack of, these things so I could smoke while I talk to you guys. Sykeskins for sale for $800,000. $800,000. That's a lot of scuttles for that track. I was just there. I was there a couple of months ago. I think 800,000. The Dirty Knows, the best channel on YouTube. You guys are the best. You guys are the best community on YouTube. Hard to choke you because we cantaloupe. Frank, okay, Uncle Tony worked for his soda cans he used to shim the mains. Really, I don't remember. It was just whatever was laying on the top of the garbage is what we used. Cordova is your home track. Pentastar, Cordova, and I don't know if it's the same now, but back in the 90s, I was there a lot. We ran a few events a year over at Cordova, and the thing that I remember the most about Cordova was the track food. The burgers at Cordova were the most delicious things I've ever eaten in my life. I don't know where that meat came from. I can't imagine a better thing. But the track food at Cordova, right, was like world class. The burgers were addictive. I used to eat until I got sick anytime we went to that place. Um, or stuffed artichokes, New York food. It's an Italian thing. Artichokes are good on pizza. Artichoke hearts, yeah. Well, they're in the. I mean, how many? I like artichoke hearts, but I like the whole artichoke with the leaves and you scrape the meat off. They're good. It's a great. Artichokes are great. Artichokes are like an ultimate like TV snack food. Like so, I go home, I'll throw on the fucking TV, put my feet up, and just scrape away artichokes for a while. Possum is only good for a few hours. I'll keep that in mind. Brandon Miller, you ever want to kill care or Edgewater? No, neither. I know. I don't think I've actually. I've never been to either of those tracks. US 131 is a nice facility. Yes. Joe K. So Tony, which car are you working on tomorrow? I'm not sure. I got to put a water pump on my XJ. I've been putting it off for weeks now. I'm driving. It just pisses water out of the pump, and I got the water pump. I got a brand new water pump sitting there on the floor of the front seat, and I've literally been putting it off for like 2 weeks now. Every time I leave the house, I'm like, I got to put the water pump in the XJ, and every night I go home and I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to put the water pump in the XJ. So that's probably what I'll end up doing tomorrow. Get that out of the way. Charlotte, Italians eat more fish than most know. So what's your favorite fish? I don't like any fish. I don't like any fish. JW Track, South Avenue or Brooklyn? South Avenue. Many, 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 many nights on South Avenue. Um, you like the bratwurst at Union Grove? I don't think I've ever had the brats at Union Grove. But again, see, Cordova, I haven't been to either of those tracks since the 90s. So I don't know what the food is like there now. Um, Dirty Knobs, do you want to sell the Harley roller you bought first? Okay. So I sold that to Al Castillo because for two reasons. I'm still going to do a dirt bike. There's no question I'm going to do a dirt bike. But two reasons I sold that bike. The first is that it's the wrong frame to use. I need to use a 79 or later frame. It has a different configuration at the back. The shock is moved back. It's more boxed in. If you were to build, like, let's say you're going to do like an XR750 replica, you would use the 79 or newer regular Sportster frame. So that was strike one on that. The second thing was Ironhead is not the bike, the engine to use. And the reason I say this is because once I decided on this, I'm going to build a dirt bike, I started looking at previous things that were like, okay, so the original XR750 was based on an Ironhead. It was an Ironhead, right? And those engines had failures. They would overheat. So you'd be hammering on them regularly in competition. They would overheat. They would melt the rings. So I'm thinking if I'm taking a dirt bike and I'm going to go take it out into the woods or out on the trails, I'm going to hammer it like during the heat. I'm going to end up with that same situation. So, and plus the weight. So I decided to do an Evo instead. So the dirt bike project, I'm still doing a dirt bike project because I really want a dirt bike, but it's going to be a later frame and it's going to be an Evo motor. So that's what's up with that. Nothing changes at Cordova. Even looks the same. The thing I will never forget about Cordova, the freakiest accident I've ever seen. Look, I spent a lot of time at drag strips. Okay, And I've seen everything happen you can imagine seeing happen, and some things you can't. Okay. But the craziest thing I ever saw in my life was at Cordova. I was there with a fuel altered. I was there working with the car. It wasn't my car. And we were first in line, okay, and in front of us were a pair of alcohol dragsters, okay. So we got to wait for the alcohol dragsters to make their run before we start the car. So I'm standing there behind the starting line, waiting for the go signal, and these two alcohol cars go right, and I'm half paying attention. I'm thinking about what I got to do with the car behind me. I'm half paying attention, and as the cars got about 300 or 400 feet out, the car in the right lane made a hard left turn and T-boned the car in the left lane. Okay? Now, oh shit. And then everything disappears in smoke. Okay? Can't see anything. So the smoke side, so we start running towards the accident because that's the thing you do, right? So we start running up towards the accident, and as the smoke is clearing, we're getting closer. There's no cars. There's right. Oh no, I'm sorry. There's one car, right, still on the track. Like, where's the other car? The other car went into the stands. All right. Like, oh, this is terrible. Okay. I thought for sure that was. I mean, there is no way this alcohol dragster in its entirety ended up in the fucking stands, right? I was like, and so here's, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened, right? I'm going to tell you exactly what happened, to be honest with you. I see this happen, okay? And I said to myself, I'm done with drag racing, right? Because I know there's going to be like carnage. This is going to be just horrible, right? And I said to myself then and there, all right, I am done with drag racing. And I turned around and I started to go, and then I says, no, wait, they may need help. They may need hands there, tourniquets or whatever, right? So I turned around and I ran up into the stands and ran towards where the accident was. Well, this car broke up into like three pieces. And the two main pieces of the car, the cockpit and the front end of it, ended up in parts of the stands where nobody was occupied, okay? There was nobody there. So the engine, the whole rear section of the car, broke loose, went to the top of the grandstand. So if you know Cordova, it's got, there's the berm at the top, right? It bounced along the berm. It took out like barbecues and stuff where it was going. It bounced over people's heads, and it ended up hitting a camper. Somehow or another, with all of this craziness that happened, nobody got hurt. Like, not a scratch. I ran up in there saying to myself, this is going to be like just the most disastrous thing I've ever seen in my life. Just go and do what you got to do. Not a scratch. Nobody got a scratch. It was the most amazing thing I have ever seen in my life. Yeah, Richard Petty killed a boy. Yes, I know. Wayne, sometimes God gets it right. I am not religious in the slightest, okay? And that doesn't mean I'm an atheist. I'm not an atheist at all. Atheism is its own religion. I'm agnostic, meaning I don't know and I don't care, right? But if there is evidence that there is such a thing as God, yeah, man, he was right there doing a number. The Scott Kaler video is hard to watch. Yeah. Harley Hawk, I've had that situation with a rollover accident. I witnessed crazy feeling to see life and death situations. Bro, I've seen life and I've seen death. And it's like, it's a whole different thing. When somebody gets snuffed on a drag strip, okay, and I've been witness to a few incidents, right? When somebody gets snuffed on a fucking drag strip, you're right off the same thing as like when somebody gets killed on a motorcycle, okay? Look, they died doing what they loved, right? They put themselves in that position, and that's that, right? But when it involves the stands when it involves spectators, and you realize that these people are just here to see it. They're not here to participate in it. They didn't come here to risk their fucking lives. They didn't come here thinking that they actually got skin in this game. When you're on the track, you got skin in the game. Hey, this could happen, okay? And if it happens, well, sorry, man, but it's not really a tragedy. It happens. You put yourself in a stupid fucking car to do a stupid fucking thing. Now you got killed. I'm sorry. But when it's people in the stands, right, that's a whole different thing, man. That was hard. That was like, that was probably the toughest fucking couple of minutes of my life. Nicholas B. Uncle Tony, I just picked up my first Harley 8983 off of Marketplace. Congratulations, my brother. Enjoy it. NJ Huffman, when do we get some Ask Uncle Crystal? We posted a video last week. This last week. We just did the first one in a year. I saw a guy at Dover Dragway get hit with a piece of clutch. Yeah, I've seen, What's going on with Kiwi? I don't know, man. I haven't talked to Kiwi in a long time. I got to drop out there. Jonathan Salinas, nice to see you too, Jonathan. Tony, have you ever thought about borrowing an electric school bus and taking it for a joyride? You talking about? Are we talking about the same electric school bus? UT, did you ever sync up with DV on the $4,000? I know I have not. Lucas Hoffman, do you have any experience with the Ford FMX transmission? Just removing them. Just removing them. Where's Buff? He'll be back soon. He'll be back. He's doing his thing. How are the chickens? The chickens are gone. We had to get rid of the chickens. Kathy had an allergic reaction to them. Time went quickly tonight. Time did go quickly tonight. I can't believe it's 2 hours already. Austin, you don't consider the V-Rod a real Harley? Why not? Because it's 60 degrees and water cool? I mean, so it's the new Sportster. The Pan America, bro. The Pan America. That's... I came this close to going to buy one of those. But it's just overloaded with too much gack. There's too much stuff on the bike. If Harley Davidson had been a little more simplistic and purist with the Pan America, I would have bought one. Period. The end. I just would have bought one because I love the whole idea of that. In the meantime, I'm thinking about picking up a Buell Ulysses. Because I like the whole idea of having an adventure bike type of thing. But back to what I was saying about the 60-degree water cool motor. So the new Sportster, the Sportster S is 60-degree water cool. The fucking Pan America is 60-degree water cool. Everything's gonna be 60-degree water cool. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, how do you not consider the V-Rod a real Harley? Everything is gonna, Buddy in high school had a Harley dirt bike. Yeah, an Americi. It was 175cc two-stroke. They're cool little bikes. Michael, UT, thanks again for the recent first start video you posted. I just got my 440, well now 452, back from the machine shop and getting it ready to go. Good luck with it, brother, man. Take your time. Just take your time. Make it right. Dutch Vornik. What was your biggest street race wager? Did you ever go for pink slips? No. I never bet any real money. I've never had any real money. You know what I mean? For me to like throw $20, $30, $50 on a race was a big deal. You know, we were just scraping by. So no, I wasn't one of the big money racers. No. Ever go to Empire Drag Strip? No. Brandon Miller, you're not the only one losing their shit over Project X. The car community is not happy. You know, honestly, man, honestly, it's like the whole SEMA thing, the whole right, you know, the establishment. I've always been anti-establishment, always, man. You know, even when I was in the establishment, when I was part of the establishment, I was anti-establishment, and now I'm really anti-establishment. Okay, you know, the only word I have to say, and I don't care who, I don't care I don't care who hears it, I don't care, right? There's only one type of person. Listen to me, right? There is only one type of person that occupies these positions of power and authority within the world of the establishment automotive media. The one word I have for these people is twats. They're fucking twats, all of them, right? And some of them know me. And go ahead, text me. Go ahead, send me a fucking message. Twat. You know what I mean? You just, okay, I got no regard for these people. The establishment stepped over the line. They got to go. It's over. YouTube is the future. Done. Over. I have no respect, no regard. I don't want to have any communication with anybody involved in the freaking industry. The thing with Project X was like the straw that brought the camel's back. Screw yous all. Electric school bus acid test. I know, that's what I said. Are we thinking about the same electric school bus? They must hate YouTube. Yeah, they hate YouTube because we're eating their lunch. So, I mean, okay, Motor Trend, right? Motor Trend. Okay. So look, we have 212,000 subs, whatever it is, right? And our average video, we don't get a lot of views, right? We'll get occasionally, we'll get a video, we'll get 100,000, 300,000, whatever it is, right? But that's not our average video. Our average video is between like 20 and 40,000 views on average. And it's always been that way. Motor Trend has 6.7 million subscribers, and we get higher average views than they do. Explain to me how this friggin' works. I'm a tiny channel. This is a tiny channel, right? And we get more views per video on average than Motor Trend does. We have 200,000 subscribers. They got 6.7 million subscribers. Explain that one to me. Smacky's Garage. You love the channel. Thank you, Smacky. I appreciate that. Did you see Ford's drop-in electric motor abomination? I gotta say this again, man. I said it in that video, right? I have nothing against EVs or electric motors. I have nothing against electric motor swaps. It's fine to me. It's just another way of propelling a car or a bike or anything like that. I look at like what I see what they're doing with the electric scooters. I think that's cool. Right? I got no problem with any of that. And EV swaps for people who want. If you've got a classic car and you want to stick an EV in it, well, you know what, man, it doesn't matter to me. That's not the point. That's not the point. It's what they did to that car. And what they did to that car, and that car specifically, was to demoralize us, right? That was a political move. That wasn't just a thing. That wasn't just a casual decision. That was a fucking political move, right? Big money changed hands to push a political agenda using that car as the device, right? That's where I got a problem. And that's why I got a problem with that entire establishment. I will. piss on their graves. Reactor Gaming 13. He told me I bought a Holly double pumper 600 for my 318 with headers and dual exhaust. Is it too big or can I make it work? Yes, you can make it work. It's going to be a little fat off idle. Go back and look at Unity Motorsports Garage. Andy's usually on here. He's not on here tonight. But if you want the proper lowdown on setting up that 600 Holly to work perfectly on that 318, Unity Motorsports Garage just did a whole series on setting up those carburetors. If we just knew how you felt about Project X, I know, Mike. No, Bruce, don't worry. I won't ban you. Luis Gonzalez, Uncle Tony, my 73 Thunderbird with 460 starts only with the gas pedal pushed all the way to the floor and barely runs really rough. It was running perfect a week ago. Could this be an HI module issue? No, you're dumping gas. You're dumping gas. Yeah, you agree. It was 100% political. It was. John Wilburn just put up the link to Andy's channel, Unity Motorsports Garage. Like I said, he's usually on here. Nicholas B. Very impressed how fast Steve Magg's channel has grown. He's doing great. He's doing fantastic. I had to prod him. I was like, he's used to having this whole production thing, right? And I'm like, no, man, just take your phone, just go to the junkyard, just go film stuff. And he's like, oh, and he finally did it, and look at the results. And I told him, I says, bro, you're gonna make my channel look like nothing in the space of a year. And he's already doing it. He's already getting more views on average than I am, and he's got no subscribers yet. He's doing fantastic. Steve is just, I mean, he is the guy to do YouTube. Let's see. Steve is a punk also. Steve's awesome. He is awesome, and he'll be back. He'll be back here with us Thanksgiving weekend, probably Sunday night Thanksgiving weekend, or we may do a Saturday night show. I don't know. It's up to him. However his schedule works out. But we'll get together again Thanksgiving weekend. All right, guys, we're over the 2-hour mark, and I have artichokes waiting. I have stuffed artichokes. Uncle Kathy, thank you, Uncle Kathy. So I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to go home, and I'm going to watch some YouTube, and I'm going to eat some stuffed artichokes and share it with my dogs because they love that stuff too. So I'm going to pack it in. As always, our mods, thank you guys so much. I so appreciate everything that you do. Ari, John, Fubar, Zero, in no particular order. Thank you. Everybody contributed with Super Chat. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciated. Everybody who just contributed with good conversation and your company, thank you. I appreciate that just as much. And so that's it. I'm going to get out of here. Wednesday night Tech Talk with live with Dallas coming up Wednesday night. And I just got to tell you a quick story, right? Dallas is going to be mad at me. This morning, right? Al had taken the gas tank that I put into the slag hammer, pulled it out because we're not going to use that anymore, right? So he took the gas tank out and it was laying on the floor. So I'm trying to clean up and make space in there for the junkyard jet guys to get their car in. So I take the gas tank. Okay, so now you got to picture this. Now, where I am right now, there's a bunch of offices, and it's like a building inside of a building. And the roof here has got like a regular, like 8-foot ceiling. Okay, and then there's a big gap above this, and it's a storage area. It's like a loft. Okay, so I take the gas tank, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to bother climbing up a ladder. So I take the gas tank and I toss it up onto this thing, right? Didn't think anything of it. I go past Dallas's office and I look inside, right? The studio where we filmed the Wednesday night thing, and there's pieces of ceiling all over the place. When I threw the gas tank, it threw it up over the thing and it landed on one of the ceiling tiles and collapsed the ceiling tile. So I got to go clean that up now. But that's it. I'm out of here, guys. Mike Batista, don't forget about the goddamn copper coat. I won't. All right, guys. That's it. I'm out of here. Thanks, and I'll see you tomorrow.